Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to welcome you to another episode of the Dreamerspro Daily Recap, where we give you a recap of all of the hot topics that we covered that day. You can catch them in their long format and also catch it fully streaming for free on Apple Podcasts. But one of the things I've been saying as well in the shows is, where are the people in big media that are going to call it like they see it with this particular story? Where are these people? I have spent so much time asking, where are you guys? Because all I see is people within the independent space who seem to have the courage to go out there and say what it is they really believe. But then something interesting happened. Yesterday, I was going through the internet and I came across a show that happens to be on FS1. And the name of the show is called The Carton Show, right? The Carton Show. And it features David Jacoby, who used to be on ESPN with Jalen Rose. Remember him? Cody Decker, Greg Carton. I think the show is named after him. So I tuned into this show to see what they were discussing, right? Because the show was doing very well. It was getting a lot of views. And they were discussing the Bronny James situation. And as I'm watching these gentlemen kind of go back and forth, they start speaking about the Bronny situation in a way that I haven't heard anyone on TV speak about it. They were speaking like independent guys, basically calling it down the line and not basically going up there and just basically twerking it up and finding ways to cover it up and not make it, and just desensitize it and make it so wonderful and sweet for everyone. No, these guys were calling it like, I was like, damn, they allow people like this on TV and Fox Sports. I was shocked. And a lot of the people that were reacting to their commentary were actually refreshed and pleased to hear people like this on TV discussing this issue, because they were calling it straight down the line. And I was like, wow, man, we got to share this information here with the audience because they got to hear what these gentlemen had to say. So what we want to do now is want to play a quick compilation of some of the things that they had to say on the Carton Show. And then want to come back and react to some of the commentary. Take a listen to this here.
Jaylen Brown is all of us. This is an unmitigated disaster.
There's Jaylen Brown.
Unmitigated disaster.
Yep.
We're past that dangerous line. You don't have to sell Lakers fans. At the end of the day, you don't owe much to the fans. You have to sell the other teammates. If I am on this Lakers Summer League team, I'm ticked off. I'm annoyed. I'm frustrated. This kid is getting on the floor. He is not an NBA player. He was never an NBA player heading into the draft. We knew that this was going to happen, that he was going to get taken by the Lakers, but the bar was set low. The bar was set low. We talked. David, you said heading into Summer League, he had to do one thing competently. Just make some three-pointers. Just get comfortable.
How's that going?
Well, it's kind of like failing a class. You know when you fail a class and you say...
Plex does.
Plex, have you ever had the teacher say to you, you know, it's kind of hard to fail my class. Like, you have to actively try to fail the class, or no?
We're just not sure.
Okay.
He made it look easy.
And by the way, they were like, F is an A.
0 for 15.
Yeah.
I mean, it's harder to potentially... That's harder than going 2 for 15. To me, guys... This is just a mess. And I look at this whole situation, and it's sad because when he had his cardiac incident last summer, his camp should have automatically said, you know what? Let him have a year to just enjoy his life, a gap year. Sure. Instead, this is a disaster.
Yeah, and look, now you have guys, like my buddy Doug Gottlieb was coaching Whiskey Green Bay. He said, look, he couldn't start for me. He'd probably make the team, but he wouldn't start for me. You obviously, we all talk about Danny Hurley, at Connecticut. Couldn't play for Hurley's team. You said that a few weeks ago. And now that you're at where I think they're at a dangerous place is he's done what most of us thought he would do, and that's embarrass himself.
Right.
And I think you all of a sudden, for all the other guys that aren't getting the same opportunities and looks because their last name isn't James, they're going to resent the kid.
He's embarrassing the organization.
Yes.
Rob Pelinka and J.J. Redick, they stand before us and they give us these outlandish excuses of how or when he's going to be a good or competent NBA player. And it's never going to happen. So now they have to answer some questions. What's the justification for giving this man a fully guaranteed contract at the second round of the 55th pick?
Right.
You have to explain that to me.
Sure.
It's everybody else.
And here's why they're not going to, because there's a level of hubris with Rob Pelinka and clearly J.J. Redick, who's a douche knuckle all day long, where they think they know more basketball than everybody else. And basketball is an interesting sport where every diehard fan, us included, all feel like we know as much basketball as anybody on the planet, and we can have a PhD level conversation about basketball because we love it so much and we watch it so much. And like you always say, Plax, the tape don't lie.
It don't lie.
We know that he can't play. Look, we knew he couldn't play at this level, and now he's just confirming what we know. 100%.
I mean, it's unfathomable to think that we've gotten to this point. But you know why we've gotten to this point? Because LeBron James at one point put out there on social media that his kid was better than some of the guys in the NBA.
Here's the tweet right here.
Here's that tweet from March the 6th, 2023. Man, Bronny definitely better than some of these cats I've been watching on League Pass today. Lightweight hilarious. LeBron, what League Pass were you watching? International? I mean, Australian? New Zealand? What League Pass were you watching? You created this monster. LeBron James has had a legendary career. Nobody's going to take that away from him. People say that the decision was his worst hour. No, he's a father. You set your kid up for failure when you sent that tweet.
So you heard what they had to say. I'm sure as you guys were listening to it, you were like, there's no way that these people on TV speaking the way that they are about this issue. Folks, they are. They are. That was an FS1 show. They are. I couldn't believe it. Using words like an unmitigated, that you would never hear anyone in all of those major shows talk. Even on the show, I don't know if this is a morning show, I don't know what time slot they're in. You will never hear somebody like this on Undisputed talk like that. You will never hear it. You will never hear anybody like this talk like this on Speak. You will never hear somebody like this talk on First Things First. You will never hear somebody talk like this on Get Up. You will never hear somebody talk like this on First Take. You won't hear anyone talk about this situation like this at all. They just will not. Do you know why I'm saying that? Because they have shown the inability to do so thus far. They've shown the inability. Usually the people that are having these views are independent guys, which should say a lot about the guys that we see on TV. Because it's like we're all looking at the same thing, but they're trying to tell us, no, what you're looking at is not really what you're looking at. You're looking at something else, right? You're looking at something else. Look, the fact of the matter is the following. Should Bronny be making as much news as he is as the 55th pick? No, he should not, because 55th picks generally don't make this amount of news. But Bronny is in a unique situation because he's the first son of a great player in LeBron James. So when you have the last name of a player like LeBron James, there are going to be some expectations. Forget about the people trying to tell you something else. It is the reality of life. When you're the son, especially the first son of a very popular person that did well in whatever field, and you want to go into that field, people are going to be looking at you. Okay, what you got? Can you live up to your father? Can you do something like that? That's the first thing. Then when you have the father himself saying, folks, this guy is already a pro. He can play in the NBA right now. You heard them. I'm looking at League Pass right now, and I'm looking at some of these guys. He's better than some of them. That's what he was saying. Could he play on the Lakers? He absolutely could play. He's saying things like that. So people are like, well, damn, LeBron James? He's saying his son can be in the NBA right now. We got to go see him. And I think what happened was LeBron put unnecessary pressure on Bronny. That's what happened. What LeBron could have did was, and I'm not telling him how to raise his child, obviously, but another thing could have been just keep quiet. Keep quiet and let him go out there and do his thing. And he'll find his way. And the criticism and the expectations won't be so high. But when you have the father praising him the way that he does, you're going to put a lot of pressure on him. You're going to. Then when you have the media as well hyping it up as they do with ESPN, Bleacher Report, all of these websites and all of that adds additional pressure. So for people to act like, well, why are we talking about a 55th pick? You need to be asking a lot of those guys because they're the ones that continuously promote him every single day. That has played a major role in this entire equation here. Two days ago, we broke the news. We didn't break it, but we were amongst the people that broke the news on YouTube that Skip Bayless was going to be leaving Undisputed I think at the end of this summer, I think they said August or something like that, right? We reported it. Various news sites were talking about it. The New York Post was talking about it. Bleacher Report was discussing it as well, right? Now, were some of us shocked by him leaving? No, but I think we're shocked that when it came out, because I don't think we expected it. If you know anything about that show, it hadn't been the same since the departure of Shannon Sharpe. They were losing. I mean, they were hemorrhaging viewers. At one point, they were averaging around 50-something thousand viewers a day, which is terrible for ratings. And then you look at what was happening at ESPN First Take, the show that Shannon Sharpe went to. They were getting 10 times the viewers at certain times a day, like 10-1. It was crazy, right? It was crazy. And then if you looked at the ensemble cast that they put together with Skip Bayless, with Keyshawn Johnson, and they had players like people like Richard Sherman, Michael Irving, and all of them, it just wasn't really working, right? It wasn't really working. The ratings weren't really working out. So ultimately, FS1 decided that they needed to go in a different direction after, investing tens of millions of dollars into Skip Bayless back when he joined that network in 2016, when he originally signed that $25 million contract. And then ultimately in 2021, he signed another contract for $32 million. $32 million contract. So we discussed this. People gave their thoughts. Everyone weighed in on it. But then yesterday I was going through the internet and I came across a very, very interesting article by Michael McCarthy from Front Office Sports. And the article had the following headline that I want to read to you. It says, hiring Skip Bayless would make Stephen A. Smith's morning talk show Dominion complete, right? So that's what the article said. So as I was reading through it, it then got to a particular point where ESPN essentially said that they're 100% okay with the current cast of personalities that they have working at the network. And Skip Bayless, Stephen A. Smith reunion is something they are absolutely not interested in. And I was like, wow, they just slammed the door in his face right there. So before we even get into what this article had to say, today's video is brought to you by our sponsor, Game Time. Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. For example, I am super excited about the upcoming MLB games. With Game Time tickets, I can easily pick the best tickets for me. I love that I can choose between different deals. I have the option to select the cheaper deal, the best option deal, or my favorite, the flash deal. The flash deal gives me the option to find discounts that I can only find on Game Time. Once I select the ticket I want, I can view my seat. And it's not just restricted to baseball. I can also look for the best ticket deals for other sports like football, the NBA, concerts, comedy, or other theater shows. Included in my purchase, I also have a 24-hour return guarantee, a lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection. So take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. And remember, whenever you support this sponsor, you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So let's get into what this article had to say. It then continues on with Skip Bayless out at FS1's Undisputed later this summer, according to Ryan Glass-Steagall of the New York Post. The question now is, what's next? There probably won't be much demand for the fading infant terrible of sports TV, who's now barely able to draw in 50,000 viewers opposite Stephen A. Smith's juggernaut First Take on ESPN. But could Smith throw Skip a bone? What if the 56-year-old Smith took pity on the 72-year-old Bayless, his old TV partner, and invited him to join his rotating cast ensemble on First Take? It would be a coup de grace if Smith and First Take's long rivalry with Bayless is Undisputed. It would be sweet revenge for Smith's new partner, Shannon Sharpe, who was pushed out of Undisputed in 2023 after 7 years as Bayless's TV partner. After all, it was Bayless who went to bat for Smith in 2012, pushing ESPN Uber producer Jamie Horowitz to hire Smith as his full-time Embrace debate foil on First Take. At that time, Smith was wandering in the TV wilderness after being let go by ESPN back in 2009. And Bayless and Horowitz were looking to take First Take, then airing on ESPN2, to the next level. When Horowitz asked Bayless whether he had a best friend in sports media like Michael Wilbon Tony Kornheiser, Bayless advocated for Smith. Once Horowitz put Smith and Bayless together on Wednesday, they instantly clicked. They were the perfect yin and yang for the hot take format. First Take's rating exploded, with the news show moving up to the flagship ESPN channel. Bayless and Horowitz then jumped to Fox Sports for the big money in 2016 to launch their own new version dubbed Undisputed, and hired Sharp as Bayless's new debate opponent. But that was then, and this is now. What started out as a head-to-head competition between the dueling Embrace debate shows 8 years ago is now a one-sided competition. In June, Smith's First Take averaged 451,000 viewers, up 7%, while Bayless's Undisputed averaged 56,000 viewers, down 64%. One of the crucial turning points came last year when FS1 pushed out Sharp after he clashed repeatedly on air with Bayless. Smith pounced, pushing ESPN to hire Sharp. The Pro Football Hall of Famer has been a huge addition to First Take and is now positioned to inherit the show if Smith leaves the network next year for late night TV. Since his days growing up in the streets of Queens, Smith has always been fiercely loyal to his friends. What about the 56-year-old Sharp? Don't forget Bayless did him a solid by picking him for Undisputed when he was unemployed back in 2016. Success is the best revenge. His feud with Bayless has cooled off too. Since leaving Bayless' suffocating presence, Sharp's career has exploded, with ESPN recently giving him a contract extension. Sharp might enjoy taking his old nemesis apart on First Take. We are set on the current First Take rotation and wish Skip Bayless the best on his future endeavors, an ESPN spokesperson told Front Office Sports. So you heard what the article had to say there. What are my thoughts? First of all, none of this really surprises me. Doesn't really surprise me. The fact of the matter is, ESPN has a good thing going. They added an extremely popular personality to their rotation in Shannon Sharp, and it's been a boom for them, right? At one point, they were hitting over 800,000 viewers daily, so they were getting a lot of people to tune in and watch the show. And it was a fantastic marriage between Stephen A. Smith, ESPN First Take, and Shannon Sharp. But where does this leave Skip Bayless ultimately? Ultimately, I think that Skip Bayless may just end up needing to do something else or just probably fade off into the sunset. Skip Bayless is 72 years old. He's made over $50 million in his 60s. He's had a fantastic career in sports media, but I mean, you've had a good run. Now, Skip is one of those people that is averse to retirement, and I can understand that. But I guess we'd have to wait and see where he lands. And as you guys know, that there's a vacant spot on on Undisputed. And yesterday I actually shot a message to Marcellus Wiley. I'm like, man, they need to get some of y'all back on TV. You need to get Max Kellerman to fill that seat, right? So to me, I think they probably need to look at Max Kellerman. This is just my outlook on things from afar. I don't know. But I guess we just have to wait and see where Skip Bayless ultimately lands. But, he had a great career, and sometimes these things just end that way. Now, as you guys know, Gilbert Arenas is a LeBron supporter. He's a supporter, a sympathizer of Bronny James and the things that he's going through and all of that, which is fine. And he usually has these perennial visits that he does on Vlad TV. He's been on Vlad TV, I think, at least 4 times, right? 5 times. I could be wrong. And he recently went to Vlad TV recently. And during his visit on Vlad, they were talking about a range of things. Who's the best franchise? Which is the best franchise in the NBA? Is it the Lakers? Is it the Celtics? A bunch of different things. And ultimately, they got to the point where they were going to discuss the Bronny James situation. And I'm sure the vast majority of you have heard Gilbert Arenas' position on the Bronny James story. You guys have heard him. So while he was on there, they were talking about Bronny. He was kind of giving his take and this and this and this and this. But then towards the tail end of this particular clip, Gilbert Arenas goes in a direction that I think a lot of us didn't expect, which was he basically went on there and insulted all the fathers in the world, that if you're a man and you're a father and you disagree with what LeBron did, then it means that you're essentially not a good father, not a real man. And I'm like, bro, what the hell is going on here? So those are the comments that we want to focus in on today. Before we even get into what Gilbert Arenas had to say, today's show is brought to you by our sponsor, Game Time. Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. For example, I am super excited about the upcoming MLB games. With Game Time tickets, I can easily pick the best tickets for me. I love that I can choose between different deals. I have the option to select the cheaper deal, the best option deal, or my favorite, the flash deal. The flash deal gives me the option to find discounts that I can only find on Game Time. Once I select the ticket I want, I can view my seat. And it's not just restricted to baseball. I can also look for the best ticket deals for other sports like football, the NBA, concerts, comedy, or other theater shows. Included in my purchase, I also have a 24-hour return guarantee, a lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection. So take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. And remember, whenever you support this sponsor, you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So what we want to do now, I want to play exactly what Gilbert Arenas had to say. It's not a long soundbite. I want to play what he had to say. I want you guys to listen to it carefully. And then we're going to come back and react to his comments. Take a listen to Gilbert Arenas here.
Okay, and he signed a 4-year, $7.9 million deal. So he gets about $2 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think he's going to pan out this year? I mean, they just played in the summer league. He scored 4 points.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, no one. I think the problem is that because of his last name, people expect him to be a superstar as a 55th pick, which is not a realistic expectation. He's a 55th pick. Treat him like a 55th pick.
And that's what they don't want to do that. And that becomes the issue here. The issue is really not Bronny James being picked 55. It's not. It's father's mad. If you're a male and you're a father and you're mad, you're not mad that LeBron James, you're more mad that this father did something for his son that you didn't do for yours. So it's more your insecurity as a father than it is LeBron James, because fathers then passed on their businesses, their teams to their kids. No one says anything. So the fact that he used his leverage to get his son on the team is a problem. That's insecurities right there. Because if you're a real father, we have plumber, father and son plumbing, right?
Right.
You're trying to pass on, that's the point of fatherhood, right? To pass on to the next generation. So you want to put your kids in the best situation that they can. So me as the father, having my son on the team with me so I can teach him the ropes of this NBA, that's the gift I can give him. If he gets drafted by anybody, I don't know what that franchise is. I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know the players on that team that can put him in a whole different me. LeBron James, the father, the mogul, whatever, I can teach him the ropes straight from me.
So you heard what Gilbert Arenas had to say. Let me get this straight. So you're telling me that if we don't agree with what LeBron has done with this situation here, then you're not a real dad? What? So the people that agree with this they're the ones that are real dads, and the ones that disagree with this are real. What in the hell are we talking about right now? What are we doing in the world today? Funny enough, yesterday I was out with family, and I was actually talking to my dad about the Bronny situation and all of that. He had one of his friends there as well, who's also a parent as well. And I was like, man, I was telling him about this hot topic that's currently occurring in sports right now. And I wanted to get his take on the Bronny James situation, right? And he said, I asked him, I said, so what do you think about the situation? Right? And he goes, listen, if my child wanted to do what Bronny did, if I know that I'm a LeBron James, what I would do is I would keep quiet. And I will let him go out there and strive towards his goal. He said he believes that by LeBron saying what he said, he heaped too much pressure on his son. Number two, he said, if it's me, I would probably let him go out there and earn it for himself. And he said the reason I would let him try to go out there and earn it for himself is because if he does it for himself, he will feel better with himself that he did it. I did it on my own. He would feel better. You feel a sense of accomplishment and pride when you do things on your own. That was his position. Although at various points, he was also sympathizing with Bronny James and all of that stuff, right? We had this long back and forth. He was like, I'm like, he's not really any good. He was like, don't say he's not really any good. I mean, when you say he's really good, like, I don't understand. He's not good at the play at all. I'm like, no, I was like, for instance, in a game, like, he didn't score 2 points. I'm like, and he's like, in a game, is everybody meant to score? There are games where some players don't score points. I'm like, yes. He's like, so we went back and forth about it, right? He's like, my dad is like a contrarian. He's always arguing the opposite point. We went back and forth about it. But Gil's point, I think, is wrong to say that you're not a real father if you don't support what LeBron did. I think that's just I think that's taking it too far. Number one. Number two, there's no need to insult all the fathers around the world that disagree with what LeBron did and say they're not real dads. Like, that's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous, right? We don't need to agree with what he did, and that doesn't make us bad parents, right? Like, let's stop the nonsense. All right, let's stop the nonsense. There are parents out there that there's some parents that they will give you the world. There are literally their parents like that. And there are parents out there that are like, nah, you got to earn it. You got to earn it. And I think it all comes down to how you decide to raise your children. And I don't think you need to be saying, oh, man, if you don't agree with this and you're a terrible parent. No, just say that, look, people have their opinions. Some agree with it. Some disagree. And it's their opinion. But to say that they're not real fathers, what? Like, okay, so for instance, I'll give you an example, personal example, to personalize. You guys can share your personal example. Talk about my personal situation. You know, my dad didn't, what is it? My dad was like, you know, he'd rather earn it on his own. My dad is one of those people, like, he's like, okay, look, if you want to do what you want to do, you can do it, right? If you have a business idea that you want to do, if you want me to invest in it, I'll invest in it. He's told me this, right? But he doesn't believe in holding your hands and making you, he's like, nah, you got to go out there and earn it. You got to go out there and actually earn it. You know, and this is somebody that sent all of his kids to school in the States concurrently. One of his daughters was going to NYU. The other one was going to Texas A&M, paying all their school fees. No problem. Concurrently, right? Takes care of his kids, but he also believes in you going out there and earning it, right? He's paying your school. I remember when my dad sent me to college. He was like, you go to college and all that. And I asked him for pocket money. He was like, you fresh out of luck, my boy. I was like, what? He's like, I pay for your school fees. I pay for your books. I paid for your accommodations. He's like, if you want any extra money, go work for it. Now, I didn't like it at the time. He's like, well, ask your mom if you want some extra money. Now, I didn't like it at the time, but that's his position. He's like, I've given you the basics. Go out there and earn it. Now, why did he do that? Because his dad did the same thing for him. Now, maybe I'm speaking from a standpoint that may be a little bit alien to some people. I'm an Igbo, right? If you don't know what Igbo is, it's an African tribe. I'm an Igbo. And Igbos, fathers can be very tough on their kids, but they have a system that works, right? As a matter of fact, in the Igbo culture, man, if you have a rich dad, which there are a lot of rich guys, multi-billionaires, if you were up here twerking it up like, man, I'm rich, flaunting, but it's your daddy's money, nobody respects you. That's the reality of it all. You can have a rich dad, like rich, worth 300, 400, 500, 2 billion, whatever it is he's worth. But if that's your dad's money and you're not doing anything for yourself, you don't get to flex that. Nobody respects you. They'll say, man, get out of here, man. You're just spending your dad's money. What did you do for yourself? You'll get more respect going out there and doing a business. And even if it's small, but you did it on your own, they'll respect you more than somebody just saying, oh, look what daddy did for me. Like, they don't care about that, right? They don't care about that. And it's a system that works, creates multimillionaires every single year. So it worked. They must be doing something right, right? Most of these people are not even based in the States. They're not even based in the States, based in Nigeria and based in other places, London or whatever it is, right? Making millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. Millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. One of the automotive guys, Genesis, I think it's Genesis the car. He's an Igbo guy, the guy that has an airline. He's an Igbo. Like, so they're very industrious in that way. We don't believe in sitting there waiting for daddy to come over here and take over and all of that stuff. And even if they do, daddy ain't gonna be blazing your pockets with cash like that. He not. So you gotta go through it, right? And I don't believe that those guys are bad guys because they didn't decide to give the entire world to their kid. I don't believe that. They're not, oh, he's not a real dad. That's just your opinion. But don't insult the rest of the world of other men that disagree with that. That's crazy talk. Like, come on, that's ridiculous. Gil, if you see this video, I may send it to him if I remember. I disagree with you, man. Go ahead, do a video and flame me up, whatever. But I disagree with you on this vision 100%. It ain't got nothing to do with being a real dad, or just say you feeling what LeBron is doing, but don't now say all of us dads are, come on, stop. Like, that's ridiculous. These are my thoughts. Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. We catch you guys.